talk about different kind of stuff when it comes to my life, the world, what's on my mind, stuff like that. You know something? I want yo speaking to living life. It's very difficult when you begin to realize that your loved ones, you know, will pass away someday. It's very difficult when you actually stand still and think about all the stuff that happens in the world, and you're a genuinely good person. It can all this stuff happening around you. Super hearing, it's like you hear everything, and it can be very troublesome. Like even now, there's something happening, I would say right now, that you're unaware of, that's very detrimental and very harmful. It's happening to somebody else somewhere in the world. It's very unnerving. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you think about it. Hey, what's up, Brandon? I'm so happy to see you. You know what? You are just a ray of sunshine. I will say that. You are a pleasure to be around. Thank you, Randy, for being here. I'm just talking to the subject when it comes to as far as living life. Um, but like I was saying, it can be very unnerving, because me personally, I have a very kind-hearted disposition, and I truly do not like the idea of really anybody suffering, especially my loved ones. And I was reading some text from my friend Spike, and he said that, is it normal, or like it was something to the effect of, about thinking about how, his loved ones will pass away someday, and they'll be buried like different cemeteries. And, there's a lot of stuff that weighs to his mind. This very legitimate. I do not want to dismiss my friend Spike's grievances whatsoever. I'm not here to do that whatsoever, because I do understand that feeling. I mean, look, man, there are people in my family who've passed away, to where I'm going to be real with you. Seeing them pass away, because the thing is, you see, well, if you're involved at any level, it's like, let's say, like if you go to the hospital, you see their body. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that sticks with you. Like I remember my how my dad looked, how my um sister looked, how my mother looked. I mean, god dang, that haunts me. I'm serious, man. Like seeing my mother in that state, to where she's on a god dang ventilator. Ooh, my goodness. That really, I mean, I can't unsee that. And to a certain degree, like I really didn't want to, because my mother was unresponsive, and this whole thing about going out and seeing her to that condition, I really didn't want to see that, because I didn't want to have that kind of memory. Not to be selfish, but and I talked to my sister, and she was like, she wanted me to go out there because she didn't want my mother to be alone. And I see what she's saying. Like my mother was unresponsive, but conscious. I don't even think she was conscious, but still, you definitely need to be there, even if she can't physically respond. You know what I'm saying? She could be completely unconscious, but you want to be there. But the condition I saw her to, my lord, this it definitely was. You know what I'm saying? Like she died that day. I'll put it that way, because they did call me and they did say, "Hey, man, this is the time where what I'm saying, she's going to be passing." And I'm even thinking about the time when the one nurse called, and when the very first time she said, um, you know, that she would highly recommend us coming to the hospital that day. She went on to live a few more days, but I think this is the time where my mother had her seizure, or around that time. I mean, it was like, um, my goodness, man. Hey, what's up, man? Welcome, welcome, welcome. But yeah, I just, I thought, just that seeing that image of her, It's something it sticks with me. And it's like, how do you live life knowing that something or someone you love is eventually going to pass away? You know what I'm saying? How do you go on? How to truly go on knowing that, what I'm saying, those who you love and care for are not like their health is going to dwindle. And I'm just reminded of life and the positive things. Oh, hey, hello, lady. Hello, welcome. I'm a girl. How you doing? Welcome to the broadcast. I'm just talking about some stuff as it pertains to living life and how I've, what I'm saying, began to say, hey, what I'm saying, it's life is worth living. But yeah, seeing my mother to that state is something I can't unsee. But at the same token, I'm happy that I was there. You know, I said my, what I'm saying, family bad. She passed that day. And if that wasn't enough, guess what happened? Guess what happened, dude? Um, this dog that my mother has wound up having puppies. Now the puppy, well, the dog that my mother bought, um, it was a Yorkshire Terrier, and the puppy's like 6 months, and her and another Yorkshire Terrier who's just as young around that time got stuck together, and it's like, um, you know, uh, it's to be expected that they would have puppies. Once dogs get stuck together, it's pretty much a guarantee. But what was good is, what I'm saying, the dog had puppies. Like there was no complications when it comes to, the passing of the puppies. But guess what? One of the puppies didn't make it. And that kind of hurt me. Like we were really taking care of this puppy, and the puppy did not grow any bigger than, or it didn't grow too far from the first day that it was born. Now the other one took off. I mean, that other dog slash puppy. I mean, picking that dog up is it's opened its ass now. It dang near, what I'm saying, can weigh down your hand. It's big. But it's like I've tried, what I'm saying, to take care of that puppy. I think the puppy had a palate, and I think that's why I couldn't really suckle. And then the thing is, when it stopped feeding, all right, well, I'll see you later. I'll see you later, little lady. Welcome to. I mean, thank you for coming by for the broadcast. Thank you. But yeah, the puppy wound up passing away. When the puppy just stopped eating, it was like, that was the beginning of the end as far as that went. The other one took off, the other one's stable, but I felt some kind of way. And the thing is, waking up to seeing that type of stuff, oh my goodness. First thing that happens, you go into a panic because at first I thought I could actually revive the, because I fed the puppy and then I wound up going to sleep because I fed him at like 5:30, what I'm saying, in the morning. And then I went to sleep and I woke up and it was like 10 something. I gave him like at the very beginning, it's like a 3 point, was it 1.5 or something as far as ounces go. It was a lot, I believe. I talked to my family, but they was talking about, you feed them every uh, 4 hours when it comes to how much you get, according to how much you give them. But I I fell asleep, woke back up. The puppy was as cold as an ice cube, even though it was, around its mother and its brother. And at first, you're shocked, you're trying to revive the thing, but it was pretty much done. Even my family that was around, the two times that they discovered the puppy looked like it was on its way out the door. You know what I'm saying? Like the puppy just stopped eating, and it's just there was no recovery with that puppy. And this is after my family passed away. So even though the puppy is basically new, not a family member, not a human being, but the whole idea of death, what I'm saying, happening again, so fresh off, what I'm saying, the time when I lost my mother, To me, that was emotionally taxing. Um, but you know something, prosper, open it, it made me feel better. And that's a very weird feeling because I thought to myself, look, I'm not trying to deal with any more dogs at all because, I mean, look, man, I'm a big teddy bear when it comes to this type of stuff. Like I feel everything. Maybe I shouldn't be that way, but that's the kind of my personality. And you know, it's like the only thing that caused me to really think, okay, well, maybe it's worth it, was seeing the other puppy survive, open its eyes the very same day, what I'm saying, the other one passed away. It was like a counterbalance, what I'm saying, like balancing the scales, where one, what I'm saying, was checking out, the other one was clocking in. And I started to think about, the one that made it. And I just felt this feeling of, well, maybe I can take this. Maybe it is possible to still continue with life. And to me, that was the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to all this. Um, and I would say this very much so is the case when it comes to living life in your family. It's very unnerving to have your loved ones pass away, but you really have to wrap your mind around and come to terms with the reality that your loved ones are going to pass away, man. That's why it's always good to get them in the gym, get them into healthy eating, so that you can enjoy as much time with them as possible. But there is no, what I'm saying, stopping death. Like that's not happening. Like you're not like your family is not going to live to be 150. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody's going to be clocking out some sooner or some later. I would much rather clock out, me personally, around my elderly years or when my body breaks completely down to where life is no longer fun. I'm just around. Like that's the only time to where I would accept the idea of not being around anymore. Very unnerving when it comes to the idea of not knowing, what to expect next from the standpoint of point to point to point. And I would imagine, what I'm saying, that God will receive me. I'm very much so um, a decent person. I try to be a righteous person. Like you can hear who I am in my voice and how I carry myself. But still, the whole idea of closing your eyes and not opening your eyes anymore, it's very scary. Um, but is being afraid cheapening the quality of life? You know what I'm saying? Like, is sitting around being scared to pass away destroying the quality of life that you would have if you just focused on your own goals? I don't think, I really think living life is about developing hobbies. You know what I'm saying? And, fulfilling yourself when it comes to what you like and what you care for. Like, if you care about art, it's always good to enroll in a class. Like you don't have to be the greatest to where you're making massive amounts of money off professional paintings, but it's something to preoccupy your mind. It's something that you can do. It's something that you like. Like find out what you like and just, I'm saying, have your life lived to that lean, so that as you live, you're happy. Happiness goes a long way, man. Don't just exist. And I feel like to a large degree, the people who, what I'm saying, are bitter and feel like giving up all the time have never truly lived life. So basically they internalize any negativity that comes across or any negativity they can find. Like to them, it's no longer an offense. And I think that's a problem. I really do. You should be able to function in this society without sitting up in, what I'm saying, like obsessing about your final days. That's no way to live, man. Like, do you understand? That's like obsessing about something that's so far off to the distance or something that can happen, um, but not until years from now or your elderly years. Are you going to pause your entire life to live in fear? Like, fear. when it comes to living life and being a nihilist and just, oh, there's no hope, when you internalize that, you become something else, man. Like you become very much so a destructive force to, what I'm saying, townsmen, people trying to live their lives. Um, so, don't allow yourself to be discouraged. Life can still be fun. It can be, trust me. You just have to develop a healthy hobby and come to terms with the reality that death is an inevitability, but so is happiness. That's why when it comes to me, I don't want any funerals, man. Like I'm going to be so standoffish, and I even show this now. I'm going to be so opposed to people being unhappy in funerals that I'll be sitting up there shouting and screaming in the ICU, saying, "Don't you dare! I'm fine. The only thing I don't want you to do is just, not carry forward. If you don't carry forward, and if you sit up there and cry about me to where stuff ain't getting done, then you disappointed me. I feel like I need to go all out, double down, triple down, quad down, so that it's well established that I do not want you to develop an attitude of nihilism. Nihilism is on the opposite end of me. I refuse to be a nihilist, man, because it's like, I'm being depressed about the sun going down at night. It's some stuff that genuinely doesn't make any sense, man, when you consider how normalized it is when it comes to just living life. But that's all I'm going to say when it comes to this. Thank you for all for coming to the broadcast. Definitely feel free to hit that like and you know what I'm saying. See you on next one. Also, the notification bell. I'll see y'all around.